What's up, YouTube? This is Artisan MC, and this is just going to be a quick one since I know it's Friday this weekend. Everybody should be on like a Christmas break or whatnot, and this is just a couple of movies that me and my kids used to love to watch during the holidays. It's all Christmas themed, but they're not necessarily Christmas movies. So the first one will be The Ref, starring Dennis Leary and Kaiser Sose, Kevin Spacey. And this is just a funny movie I saw with my homeboy Marcus back in the day. And short synopsis is crook tries to rob these expensive houses on the East Coast during the holidays. It ends up kidnapping a couple that is dysfunctional as fuck. And taking them back to their home, he ends up seeing the rest of their family and how their family is set up. And it turns from a heist to a kidnapping into a damn intervention. The fun part for me in this movie is seeing Kevin Spacey lose it. And Dennis Leary was always funny to me anyway, because that's kind of his comedy. So check out The Ref. You can find it probably on Netflix or Prime or something like that. It's out there and free. The next one goes into more quippy dialogue and stuff like that, and it's The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. What I like about this movie, it happens around Christmas time. If you don't know, Gina Davis's character is like, I think, her first action movie. And she's playing Charlie Baltimore, who is a spy who has lost her memory and then become a homemaker in some East Coast town. But the catchy dialogue comes in the form of Samuel L. Jackson's character, who's an ex-cop, kind of a con man or whatever. But you can see a lot of the lines in it are really, really quick and funny. And I can't remember the name of the writer who did this movie, but I love the dialogue in it. It's fun to me. So a lot of action, a lot of shooting, stuff like that. So if you watch it, you'll probably enjoy it. The next one goes to an all-time classic, which is Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson, Danny Glover. Don't really need much of an explanation outside of it's a cop on the edge of suicide, getting paired with an older cop who's thinking about retiring, and Danny Glover's character. And you get the introduction to this franchise and this character of how tortured and kind of complex he may be, and stuff that they go up against in LA. And this is on the West Coast, right? So the next one goes into the action movie that made Bruce Willis's fame, which is Die Hard. Obviously, terrorists take over the Nakatomi building in LA, and Bruce Willis, a semi-separated, possibly divorced cop, is there visiting his wife at the time when the building gets taken over, and ends up in a situation where he's fighting off all these terrorists barefooted. And the keynote for me in both of these movies are a Beretta 92FS, which is one of my favorite firearms, is on display in this movie pretty prominently. So, yeah, I always like those two movies. But it's fun. Quippy dialogue, a lot of ridiculous action, and it was kind of a genre-defining movie at the time it came out, and it shot Bruce Willis into action star status outside of being a comedic line of moonlighting and stuff like that. The next one goes into one that's just a Christmas seminal favorite, and that's A Christmas Story. I watch this movie every year, pretty much since it came out, and it's just funny to me. Not that I grew up in the 50s or anything like that, but it's just funny. It's just a boy with love for something that he can't have. It's some of the stuff that happens in it is kind of over the top, but anybody who's seen this movie remembers these scenes in this movie. Talking about it right now, I'm just thinking about the dude with his tongue stuck to the lamp pole. It's just too fucking funny, right? So it gets a watch every year just for that. I like Darren McGavin in it, and the boy who's playing Ralphie. I can't remember his name, but he's in the MCU right now. He's playing a scientist, and he was in the last Spider-Man: Far From Home movie too, all grown up, still wearing glasses, but he's there. I can't think of his name right now, but you'll know it when you see it. So that goes to that one. The next one comes in is really an all-time favorite, just to round out the group, and that goes to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, this also goes into quippy dialogue and seeing people lose it. Like Chevy Chase movies, I've been watching Chevy Chase for years, and this is one of those favorite ones. Beverly D'Angelo, you got Randy Quaid, you got Bill Murray's brother in it. It's a bunch of really good comedic actors in it that you would recognize from other stuff. And this is one of those movies that I like to go back and watch every once in a while, because you'll see like the kids in this. Julia, what, Louise Dreyfus? No, Juliette Lewis is in this. Julie Louise Dreyfus from Seinfeld is in this as well. But the younger kid that's in this, he's what's his name? Leonard on The Big Bang Theory, and I can't think of his name right now. But I like seeing actors grow up. It lets me know how, I guess, freaking old I am, and how long I've been watching these people, and how long they've actually been acting in the body of work behind them. So that is another one that's on the list, just for shits and giggles and laughs. The last one just goes to The Need for Family, and it'll seem kind of funny, but It's a Wonderful Life is my all-time classic. This is one of the ones I watch every year, and I've been watching every year for a while. And for me, it hits on that sense of, yeah, it's full of fucking white people, and it's in black and white. It's a Frank Capra movie, which is a classic. But for me, it hits on the fact that you never know who your life touches. And that's the more important note to me. Family, and you never know what your life is. No matter what kind of bullshit you might be going through in life, and you think, well, woe is me, or why did God put me here for this? There is a reason for your life, and your life impacts millions of other people, maybe hundreds on a daily basis, and you multiply that up for the number of years that you've been alive. You interact and impact a bunch of people's lives. A lot of impacts you never actually see. And that's what this movie shows. You got Jimmy Stewart in this movie, and he gets to that point where he's helped a lot of people, but he doesn't know his value in this life, and he just, in a sense, wants to escape. And God kind of intervenes and gives him a view of what the world would be like without him. And that's just the view of one man, to let you know that everybody is connected. No matter what you do in this world, you impact somebody, even as insignificant as what you do seems. You impact somebody. Some people positively, some people negatively, but you have an impact. So I like that message during the Christmas season, that you can impact people's lives, and that you matter and involved. Curious side note to this is that Frank Capra, Stan Lee, and Dr. Seuss all worked together in the military back in, I believe it was World War II, and they were part of the Army's propaganda campaign, making movies against Nazis and stuff like that, and that's where these people shot up into stardom after the war, because they knew how to touch the masses, in a sense. Frank Capra made movies, Stan Lee made comic books, Dr. Seuss made children's books, if you want to call it that. So that's just an interesting nod to bring it back to geekdom, in a sense. That's it. I'm sure there's a multitude of other movies that I can name. I'm not thinking of some of them right now, but these are the ones that I enjoy, and I pretty much make sure I watch every year. So if you got time to binge, go ahead and give them a check out and see if you find them as entertaining as I do. Like, share, subscribe, and happy holidays. Peace.